My mother gave me an expensive emerald bracelet before my wedding, but I turned around and put it on an octopus's arm, because in my previous life, after I joyfully put on the bracelet, my sister's fingers became increasingly slender and graceful, like a swan in flight, and she became a world-renowned top-hand model thanks to her delicate fingers. Meanwhile, my fingers grew shorter and shorter, until even my palms disappeared entirely. Not only was I unable to work normally, cutting off my source of income, but my daily life was also affected. My fiancé broke off our engagement and married my sister. My will to live began to crumble, and I begged my parents on my knees to give me money for treatment. They took me to a private hospital abroad and had the doctor perform euthanasia on me. After being forcibly medicated, I finally realized that the emerald bracelet my mother gave me wasn't a family heirloom at all. It was a cursed object she had specifically bought for me. They did all of this just to find a host for my younger sister, to transfer my slender, long, and distinctly bony fingers to her. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my mother gave me the bracelet. Lorna, this is an emerald bracelet passed down from your grandmother's generation. It's said to be extremely precious and rare. Take it, with this as your dowry when you get married. You certainly won't be looked down upon by your in-laws. When my mother handed me that emerald bracelet, I knew I had been reborn. The pain and despair of my previous life, where I watched helplessly as my parents forced me to take medication for euthanasia, still felt as if I were living through it all over again. I almost couldn't resist throwing the bracelet right in my mom's face. But this time, I can't let them off so easily. I'm going to make them taste this bitterness. Mom, this is too valuable. I can't accept it. What kind of marriage is it without a decent dowry? When you go to your husband's family, it won't be like at home. Only with a substantial dowry will you have a say, and your mother-in-law will have to watch her words around you, not daring to look down on you. Mom, I've already bought a house for the wedding. With a house as my dowry, I won't be looked down upon by my in-laws. Don't worry, no one ever thinks a dowry is too much, Mom said to me with deep concern in her voice. Just listen to your mom, it won't be wrong, you're my daughter. Would I ever do anything to harm you? Seeing me still standing motionless, she said again, what are you spacing out for? Hurry up and take it, put it on so Mom can see. To reassure her and prevent her from resorting to strange remedies or misguided methods to torment me, I pretended to be delighted and took the bracelet into my hand. I looked at it left and right, turning it over and over, feigning great joy. Thanks, Mom. Lorna, try it on quickly. This bracelet will definitely look beautiful on your delicate, slender jade-like hands. From now on, you should wear it every day. What a thing to wear every day. All right, I will definitely satisfy you. My sister, mother, and I share no blood relation at all. I am their adopted child. After getting married, my parents actively tried to conceive but just couldn't, following the advice of their elders. They adopted me from an orphanage, unexpectedly, just half a year later. My mother successfully became pregnant and gave birth to my younger sister. Fortunately, even after my sister was born, my parents still treated me as if I were their own child and never deprived me in any way. As an adult, I've done my best to provide them with a better material life. I just never expected that, to ensure my sister could have delicate, slender fingers, they went so far as to turn me into a monster and eventually performed euthanasia on me. I know I'm not their biological child. But what did I do wrong? Coincidentally, my sister pushed the door open and came in from outside. When she saw the emerald bracelet in my hand, her eyes lit up. Sis, this bracelet looks so delicate. It would definitely look good on your hand. Unlike me, when I wear it, my sister's voice grew softer and softer. I looked at my sister's hand, then glanced at my mother's hand. There's really no way to control these genetic matters. My sister possesses a beauty that could topple cities and captivate nations, yet her fingers are short and thick. Even a cat's paws are longer than her fingers. When she was little, they looked quite adorable, but as she grew older, they became a source of deep distress for her. She tried almost every method imaginable to make her fingers grow longer, even undergoing bone-breaking surgery, but unfortunately, nothing could lengthen her fingers. As for me, I have a rather ordinary appearance. Ironically, my fingers are anything but ordinary. My jade-like hands are as slender and delicate as willow branches, fair and elegantly bony. So, I became their first come, first served, mom and dad. Seeing her in so much pain, sought out famous doctors for her and eventually resorted to dark magic, transferring my fingers to her hands. Mom thoughtfully said, "Axane, your fingers will be just like your sister's. Slender, fair, and delicate, as beautiful as jade." My sister curled her lips into a crescent moon, her deep, bright eyes looking at me with a satisfied smile. My mother finished speaking and was about to put the bracelet on my wrist. I quickly grabbed the bracelet and said, "Mom, I'll wear it later. There's something urgent at the company. I need to go handle it first." After saying that, I took the bracelet and left home. As soon as the door closed, I heard excited chatter coming from inside. "Great, Mom, my hands are going to become so beautiful. And no one will ever laugh at my short, stubby hands again. That bitch, with such an ugly face. How dare she have such pretty hands? Mom, you and Dad never should have adopted her from the orphanage in the first place. Every time I see her hands, it ruins my mood, and I even feel so upset I could die. If it weren't for her, my hands wouldn't always be the butt of my friends' jokes. Sweetie, if we hadn't adopted her, we wouldn't have been able to have such a beautiful daughter like you. Besides, where else could we find such lovely hands for you now? She still has some use for us, and once she's no longer useful, we can just kick her out." Just then, Dad came in, and I heard him say, "I wish my dear Shinshin all the best and hope she soon has a pair of delicate, slender hands." My sister makes no effort to hide her hostility toward me. I know she despises me to the core. My parents also go to great lengths to help their own precious child, which makes me feel utterly disheartened. I clench my fists and let out a cold laugh. I drove to an ocean aquarium. This aquarium allows you to purchase marine animals, as long as they are not endangered species. If you don't want to take them home to raise, you can also pay a monthly fee to have them fostered at the marine aquarium. I immediately paid for an octopus with the longest tentacles, put the bracelet on its tentacle, and instructed the staff at the marine aquarium to take good care of it for me. I thought, such long and smooth tentacles would surely fulfill my sister's wish. To reassure my family, I went and had an identical bracelet custom-made to wear on my own wrist. In the days that followed, whenever I had free time, I would rush to the ocean aquarium to check on the octopus I had entrusted there. As long as I saw the bracelet perfectly intact on the octopus, I felt inexplicably at ease. One weekend, our family went camping together, and I noticed that my younger sister's hands had grown quite a bit, increasing by a full 5 centimeters. I pretended to be pleasantly surprised and said, "Sis, your hands seem to be getting longer and more beautiful. It's true what they say. Girls change a lot as they grow up. Your face is pretty, and your hands are lovely too. I'm so envious of you." My sister stared at her own hands, smiling smugly. My fiancé Su Yuan shamelessly tracked me down. Not long after I was reborn, I broke up with him, but he keeps showing up to curry favor with me every other day, which is really annoying. "Xiao Su, what brings you here?" Mom asked. Su Yuan suddenly knelt down in front of me. "Jianglan, I beg you, please don't break up with me." Then he turned to my mother with tears streaming down his face. "Auntie, please help me persuade Jianglan. Tell her not to break up with me. I really can't live without her. Indeed, without me, you definitely couldn't survive. You've always been relying on me to support you." Mom gave me a look. "What's going on?" I said flatly. "I'm tired of it." Mom quickly helped Shuyan up and pulled out a chair for him to sit. "You silly child, whatever it is, can't we talk it out properly while sitting? Why do you have to kneel?" Shuyan sobbed and cried. "Jianglan, don't break up with me. I can't live without you." Hugging her father again, she said, "Uncle, please try to persuade Jianglan. She'll definitely listen to you." Her parents took turns comforting him. My sister looked at Su Yuan with a puzzled expression, then glanced at me and asked, "Who is this person?" Mom said, "Your brother-in-law." I could see the surprised look in my sister's eyes, as if saying, "A fresh flower stuck in a pile of cow dung." "Yes, I am the cow dung." Only then did Su Yuan notice the sister sitting nearby. He stopped crying, and his eyes lit up as he looked at Jiang Xan, something he had never done when looking at me. Su Yuan moved his chair closer to Jiang Xan and said, "You must be Sister Jiang Xan. I've long heard from your sister that you are as beautiful as the moon and flowers, and now that I've seen you, you truly are extraordinary. With such stunning looks, what kind of worthy man could possibly deserve to marry you?" My sister was so praised by Xu Yuan that she was almost flying high. Being praised by someone as good-looking as Xu Yuan, who wouldn't feel like they're on cloud nine. Mom and Dad looked at my sister with pride, and I heard Mom whisper in Dad's ear, Xu Yuan's looks are more than a match for our Xaner. If Lana insists on breaking up, why not let Xu Yuan and Xaner be together? Dad chimed in, I have no objections, but it's just a matter of whether Xin likes him or not. I was so focused on listening to my parents talk that when I turned around, I realized Su Yuan and my sister had already left their seats and gone to admire the flowers. That guy had completely forgotten about me wanting to break up with him and was busy scanning my sister's WeChat QR code. Su Yuan, I haven't even turned into a monster in this lifetime, and you're already eyeing my sister so eagerly. Not long ago, you were shamelessly begging me not to break up, and now your eyes are practically glued to my sister. Su Yuan's infatuated expression genuinely disgusted me. Seeing my fiancé constantly praising her, my sister was so happy she almost got up to dance. The look she gave me was filled with disdain and dissatisfaction, as if saying, what right does an extra like me have to have such a handsome fiancé? Oh my, brother-in-law, please stop praising me like that. With my sister being so plain looking, she'll get angry. What's there to be angry about? I'm just telling the truth. Besides, I'm praising her sister, not some stranger. If she gets angry, she's being too petty, and then she doesn't deserve to be your sister. I was so angry I laughed. Can't these two speak a little softer? Their bad-mouthing about me was carried right into my ears by the wind. I walked up and slapped Su Yuan. Did you come here just to praise my sister? What right does a kept man like you have to call me stingy or generous? Su Yuan was so enraged by my words that his neck turned red, as if he had eaten a pound of chili peppers. My younger sister let out a gasp. Clearly startled by my action, sister, brother-in-law just casually complimented me without thinking. Why did you suddenly hit him? Then she leaned in closer, gently touching Xu Yuan's already red and swollen cheek with a finger mark, pretending to feel sorry. Brother's face is so handsome. How could sister be so rough? Brother, does it hurt? Let Xin blow on it for you. Xu Yuan looked at Jiang Xian tenderly and said, brother is fine. Did it scare you? Then he turned his head and glared at me fiercely. Are you insane? So ugly, with such a bad temper. Who else would want you besides me? In my previous life, I always tolerated and accommodated you. In this life, I no longer wish to force myself to serve you. Oh, then I won't trouble you any further. Let's part on good terms and break up. After saying that, I walked away without looking back. My sister's fingers gradually grew longer, and in less than a month and a half, they had become just like a normal person's. Mom and Dad were extremely happy, not only praising my sister's good looks to everyone they met, but also complimenting her beautiful fingers. However, my sister still wasn't happy, especially when she saw me. Her unhappiness only grew stronger. One night, I was tossing and turning in my room, unable to sleep, and decided to go to the kitchen to find something to eat. As I passed by my sister's room, the door was slightly ajar, not fully closed, and I heard her sobbing inside. Why are that bitch's hands still perfectly fine? Wasn't it said that once she wore that bracelet, her hands would swap with mine? Why haven't her hands become shorter and thicker? I don't care, Mom and Dad. You need to find a way to make that bitch's hands become short and thick, so she can experience the pain of being mocked like I did. Dad chimed in from the side. Yeah, how could this be? It's been so long, and her fingers haven't changed at all. Did that Taoist priest trick us? Mom fell silent for a moment. Don't worry, the Taoist priest definitely wouldn't deceive us. Look at Xin's fingers. They've grown longer, which proves it's effective. Let's wait a bit longer. If there's still no change after some time, I'll chop her hands off and make soup for you. We brought her back from the orphanage and have raised her for so long. We've already done more than enough for her. Hearing this, I broke out in a cold sweat. I work hard to earn money and provide a good life for the family, yet you want my fingers. Besides, my sister's fingers are already as good as normal. Isn't that enough for you? I never expected you to have such malicious thoughts. Every part of my body was given to me by my biological mother, and every finger in your family is short and stubby. What does that have to do with me? It's determined by genes, not something I can control. Why should I be the one to bear my sister's suffering? Then what about me? I'm plain looking. constantly compared to my sister and mocked as ugly. "Who will help me bear that pain?" Dad exclaimed. "Oh my God, honey, you can't do that. Our whole family depends on her for support," Mom said indifferently. "When our Shinshin's hands become slender and elegant, she can become a world-class hand model. By then, she will have no more value. Besides, I understand that a child raised by others will never truly be loyal. Everything must prioritize our Shinshin. As long as Shinshin is happy, I'm willing to do anything. Moreover, if it weren't for our kindness in adopting her, she would have struggled even with basic food and shelter. Now that she's grown up, she should contribute to this family," my sister said happily. "Mom and Dad, you are the best to me. I will definitely earn lots and lots of money, become successful, and let you live a comfortable life in your later years." I was so shocked that I could barely stand steady. I quickly leaned against the wall and made my way to my bedroom, closing the door and locking it behind me. It seems I can no longer stay in this family. They not only want my hands, but they also want my life. I didn't even say a word to anyone and went straight to the house I bought myself. Fortunately, I've always been an outstanding student with excellent grades, consistently receiving scholarships. I also worked part-time throughout college and have earned a good amount of money over the years. I bought this house a long time ago, originally intending to use it for marrying Su Yuan, but now it seems I'll just use it for myself. However, my mom called me early in the morning when she realized I wasn't home. She questioned me. "Why did you move into the wedding house?" I can't possibly tell her it's to save my life. Seeing that I didn't answer, she continued, "You should move out soon. Xaner is getting married to Xiao Su next month, and they'll be moving in then. It wouldn't be proper for you to stay there. People might laugh at us. They're getting married," perhaps thinking I would be very upset at this moment. My mother explained, "These two kids like each other and begged me to let them be together." I couldn't really refuse. "Lana, look ahead. There are plenty of opportunities in the future, then congratulations to them." As soon as I finished speaking, my mother immediately said, "You're the older sister, you need to act like one. I'm not asking you to contribute money or effort for your sister's wedding, but let this house be your sister's dowry. You should come back and live with your parents so we can take care of each other. Otherwise, being all alone, no one would even know if you got sick." Mom, over the years, I've given a lot to this family. Even if there's no credit due, there's hard work. Besides, this is a house I bought with my own money, and I have the right to decide what to do with it. You don't need to make decisions for me. As soon as I finished speaking, my mother immediately flew into a rage. "Just look at yourself. Is that any way for a person to talk? If we hadn't adopted you and given you a good living environment, would you even have the ability to earn money and buy a house now? You're so selfish, unwilling to even help your sister out a little. You're really an unwanted wild child, impossible to raise properly. Transfer the house you bought now to your sister, and also put the assets under your name in my care so I can manage them for you. To prevent those with ulterior motives from eyeing your property. By the way, give your sister an extra 6,000 yuan a month for living expenses. Your sister is going to marry Xiao Su soon, and she won't be living at home anymore. There will be expenses everywhere, and with more money, she won't be looked down upon by her in-laws. Want to get something for nothing? You're just daydreaming in broad daylight, thinking way too highly of yourself. Why should I hand over the house I worked so hard to earn and buy to someone else? I don't care about trash like Su Yuan. Giving him up is whatever, but the house isn't like a worthless man. It won't betray me." "Mom, my sister already has a job. She can support herself. I don't have the ability to give her 6,000 yuan a month for living expenses. If you want to give it to her, you can do it yourself. Besides, I bought the house myself, and I don't want to give it to her. Isn't it only natural for an older sister to support her younger sister? Besides, you don't have a marriage partner right now, so keeping the house is useless. It's just a waste. It would be better to give it to your sister as a dowry." "Mom, don't guilt-trip me. This is my house, and I said I won't give it, so I won't. You ungrateful thing. Your dad and I brought you back from the orphanage, raised you with care, and this is how you treat us. You won't even fulfill this small request of giving the house to your sister. You're such an ungrateful wretch. It seems my mom won't let me off unless I transfer the house to my sister." A clever idea struck me. "Mom, that bracelet you gave me last time would make a perfect wedding gift for my sister. I'll bring it over to you right away. After all, I'm not getting married anytime soon. Mom panicked and said, no, no, that won't do. The bracelet was given to you, so it's yours. It's not right to take back a gift once it's been given, but it's a waste for me to keep the bracelet. My younger sister is getting married next month, so it would be perfect for her. You mustn't take it off. You have to keep wearing that bracelet. It will keep you safe, understand? It seems this emerald bracelet is truly meant for me and no one else. At that moment, someone knocked on the door. Through the surveillance camera, I saw that it was my sister and Xu Yuan standing outside. They were holding hands, standing shoulder to shoulder, very intimate. They were certain I was in the house and kept knocking incessantly. Strange, why are they coming here at this time? I opened the door impatiently and asked, what's the matter? My younger sister spoke first. I came with my brother to take a look at the wedding apartment. Then she waved the diamond ring on her finger in front of me. The diamond ring didn't catch my attention, but her fingers seemed to have grown longer. Your wedding apartment isn't here. Turn right when you go out, and take care on your way. As I spoke, I pushed both of them out. How can these two people be so shameless? Sister, Mom said this house is for me and my brother to use as a wedding home. If you want it, then pay up. I'll give you the house if you pay. Su Yuan pointed at my nose and said, Jiang Lan. Talking about money really hurts our relationship. Jiang Xian is your sister after all. Would you really refuse to give your own sister a house for her wedding? I rolled up my sleeves and stepped closer to Xu Yuan, saying, who do you think you are? Xu Yuan kept backing away, and Jiang Xian stepped in front of him. In a soft, coquettish voice, she said, Sister, my brother and I are getting married next month. So it wouldn't be right for us to keep living at home. You're not married. So are you just jealous of me and trying to take this house? Look at me, I'm prettier than you, and my hands are getting more and more beautiful. That's why you're deliberately making things difficult for me. She really never missed a chance to emphasize how much better her hands were looking. I said, I earned the money to buy this house myself, and I didn't spend a single penny of yours. What does it have to do with you? How can you say I'm jealous of you or giving you a hard time? My younger sister timidly hid behind Xu Yuan and said, Brother, sister is so fierce, I'm really scared. Then she turned to me with a pitiful expression and said, Sister, I just want you to bless me and brother Xu Yuan. Xu Yuan said, Jiang Lan, don't be so ungrateful. This house was originally Xinxin's. You'd better hand it over to me and Xinxin to use as our wedding home, or you'll regret it. Looking at their shameless expressions, I almost rolled my eyes out of my head. It's true that birds of a feather flock together. All right, since you can't afford to buy it, if you really want it, I suppose I could rent it to you. The rent is 6,000 a month, and you'll need to pay a 6-month deposit up front. Before I could finish speaking, that scumbag Su Yuan cut in. Jiang Lan, why are you always so materialistic? You've been eating off the Xian family and using their things. This is what you owe them. How can you have the nerve to ask for money? You should be grateful they haven't asked you for any. That's right, sister. Mom and Dad adopted you from the orphanage and raised you all these years. Shouldn't you repay their kindness? My brother and I don't necessarily want your place. We just need it temporarily. I've already submitted my modeling resume, and soon a modeling agency will contact me. Once I make it big, I definitely won't treat you poorly. That couple is truly a perfect match for each other. This keyboard is being typed on so loudly. Looking at my sister's increasingly large hands, I thoughtfully said, your body proportions are off. You might not be suited to be a model. Hearing this, my sister angrily pointed at my nose and said, Sister, what right does an ugly person like you have to judge me? Seeing that I was unwilling to give up the house, Su Yuan angrily said, Jiang Lan, it's because you're an ugly troublemaker that you don't deserve my love. Su Yuan, you're a pretty boy who lives off women. What right do you have to talk to me about love? Su Yuan was so angry he wanted to hit me, but I was quick-witted and acted first, using all my strength to slap him across the face. The blow sent him staggering, unable to stand steady, and he quickly grabbed his sister's hand for support. Just then, his sister suddenly let out a loud scream. Her hand was brutally torn off by Su Yuan, and then, a new hand immediately grew back from the severed part. However, This newly grown hand was long, slender, and smooth, looking just like an octopus tentacle. The younger sister was so terrified she nearly had a mental breakdown and was rushed to the hospital. Doctors from major hospitals held an emergency meeting but were unable to diagnose the cause of the illness. What's even more troubling is that the hand is extremely soft and boneless. It seems that as time goes on, her other fingers are also starting to break, and then one after another, new hands, long, slender, and smooth, grow out. To prevent the situation from worsening, the doctors ultimately decided to amputate the sister's hand. The sister was definitely the first to disagree. She had been so fixated on her hands her entire life. She decided to cut off the newly grown hand, trying to return to her original state. But within half an hour after the surgery, the severed hand grew back again, and it was longer, thinner, and smoother than before. Everyone was terrified. Her younger sister cried her heart out. How could this happen? How am I supposed to face people from now on? Dad was so distressed he was on the verge of tears, repeatedly blaming Mom. Where did you get that thing from? It's made our daughter end up like this. Mom also muttered to herself, it's all my fault, all my fault. I heard that the Taoist priest was very effective and never failed. I don't know why this happened. I hid outside the hospital room, laughing heartlessly. At that moment, the doctor pushed the door open and entered. We are still investigating the cause of this illness, and currently, there is no effective treatment. Would you prefer to keep her in the hospital for observation or take her home? My sister has completely broken down. Mom looked at Dad and said, what should we do? You need to make a decision. Dad said, how about we stay in the hospital for observation? That way, if anything unexpected happens, we can handle it promptly. Mom agreed, yes, yes. Money isn't an issue. If we don't have enough, we can just ask that wretched woman for it. As long as we can cure our baby, that's all that matters. Sure enough, their focus shifted to me again. The phone rang right on cue. It was my mother's voice. Lorna, where are you? Your sister needs to stay in the hospital for observation for a while. Go pay the fees and make the arrangements right away. Mom, you really know how to arrange things. Mom, I don't have any money on hand. I said into the phone, what's going on? You've worked for so many years with such a high salary. How could you have no money? Mom's voice was trembling with emotion. I explained, sigh, the stock market hasn't been doing well lately, and my money is all tied up in it. I've given you a lot before, so maybe you can use that for now to get by. I don't care. Borrow it if you have to. Just hurry up and get the money. Mom, over the years, most of the money I've earned has been used to support the family. Don't you have any savings? Where are you? Get over to the hospital room right now. I dragged my feet as I entered the hospital room. As soon as the door opened, my father slapped me and said, you ungrateful wretch. I never should have adopted you in the first place. After raising you all these years, you won't even contribute some money when your sister is sick. This family's way of thinking is truly bizarre. I looked at them and said, aren't you also unwilling to contribute? Otherwise, you wouldn't keep pressuring me. Besides, Xu Yuan is here too. Why don't you ask him for money? I then turned to Xu Yuan and said, Xu Yuan, she's your wife. How can you bear to let her give up on hospitalization and observation just because of a lack of money? Xu Yuan widened his eyes in shock. What does this have to do with me? We're not even married yet. With that, he made a quick escape. The family exchanged bewildered glances. Dad said pitifully, Lon Lon, you are Daddy's treasure, and Xin Xin is also Daddy's treasure. I can't bear to see Xin Xin like this and just do nothing. But I don't have the money. Do you think you could ask your company for an advance on your salary? I thought for a moment and pointed to the bracelet I was wearing. How about I sell this bracelet? Mom and Dad quickly stopped me. No, you can't. This was passed down from our ancestors. How would we explain it to them if we sold it? Then I really have no other options. I've already given you all my savings. My company is going through severe layoffs and can barely pay salaries, so there's no way I can get an advance. You use the money for my sister's treatment, and I'll work harder to earn more for you. Money can be earned again, but if a person is gone, having money won't help. Mom rushed over to hit me. You ungrateful wretch. I should have just let you fend for yourself back then. With that foul mouth of yours that never knows how to speak properly. Let me teach you a good lesson. I stared at her coldly and raised my hand to block her slap. She lost her balance and fell directly to the ground. Anyway, I'm just not paying. What can you do to me? Ah, you wretch. How dare you hit Mom? You're really rebelling. My sister slapped me, but it felt soft and weak, as if she had no strength. I thought, an octopus's tentacles must feel like this. Dad helped Mom up and then gave me 2 slaps. They wish they could beat me to death and throw me into the sea to feed the fish. At this moment, I finally see my family for who they truly are. There's no need to continue dealing with them. My father and the others still wanted to gang up and beat me. Taking advantage of a nurse coming in to deliver medicine, I quickly sat down on the floor and cried out loudly, "Mom, Dad, please stop hitting me. I've already given you all my money. I really don't have any extra. I beg you, let me go. Don't tell me to die." The nurse looked at the swollen redness on my face and my tear-streaked state, and said, "If this continues, I'll have to call the police." They panicked as soon as they heard the police might be called. My mother quickly pulled me up from the floor, and I kept explaining, "Mom, Dad, please don't tell me to die. All the money I've earned over the years has gone straight into your pockets. I haven't kept a single cent for myself. I've been supporting this family, and I'm truly exhausted, but I've never complained. I know I was adopted from the orphanage, and I should be grateful. I've always put you first in everything. No matter how unreasonable your demands were, I always met them, but the truth is, I have no money left. Even if you force me to die, there's no money." My crying caught the attention of people in other hospital rooms. They gathered at the door, watching and speaking up for me, cursing my parents. How heartless. Someone else's child isn't a child, but their own is. So shameless. How can they still have the nerve to make all these demands? My parents were at a loss for words, glaring at me as if they wanted to crush me and swallow me whole. My sister looked at me with resentment, reaching out her right hand to grab the water glass on the table to drink, only to find that both of her hands had turned into octopus-like tentacles. She was so terrified that she could only scream, "Ah, ah, ah, ah." My father quickly called for a doctor to come and check on her. The doctor shook his head repeatedly after examining her, and so my sister was discharged from the hospital after just a few days. On the day she was discharged, she wore long sleeves and kept her hands in her pockets, refusing to take them out. I thought she was discharged because she couldn't afford to stay. I didn't realize the doctor had told her to go home and wait for the test results. After resigning, my younger sister stayed at home for a while and, having nothing better to do, started experimenting with live streaming. Her face is truly captivating enough to cause cities and kingdoms to fall. In less than half an hour, her live stream shot up to the #1 spot on the charts. Many big spenders sent her rocket gifts. From then on, every time she went live, there were hundreds of millions of viewers. Such a massive fan base caught the attention of several companies. They urgently needed my sister to help with product promotion and signed live streaming sales contracts with her one after another. Seeing this, my mother threatened to take her own life to force me to resign and become my sister's full-time substitute streamer. Every time my sister goes live to sell products, I have to step in as the hand model, and I'm not even allowed to show my face. One day, a jewelry company took a liking to my sister's looks and wanted to invite her to endorse a piece of jewelry for them. This company happened to be the one I worked part-time for during college. The boss is a greasy man in his 50s who has a particular fondness for beautiful women. The reason I can work as a hand model part-time at this company is because I look ordinary enough that I don't attract the boss's attention. But with my sister's stunning beauty, she probably wouldn't be able to escape the boss's wandering hands. Sure enough, the boss asked to meet my sister offline to sign the contract. She was very reluctant at first, but since the terms offered by the boss were quite attractive, our parents insisted that I go with her as her representative, so I could protect her if any issues arose. The moment the boss saw my sister, his eyes lit up. He reached out his hand to his sister, who glanced at it and said, "I'm sorry, I have severe mysophobia and generally don't shake hands with others." The boss smiled at her and said, "It's understandable for a beauty to have mysophobia. Please, have a seat." The boss took out the contract and placed it in front of her. She gave me a look, signaling me to sign on her behalf. As I flipped through the contract and showed it to her, her beautiful eyes nearly popped out of her head when she saw the price of 130 million. She nudged me with her elbow and said, "Hurry up and sign." After watching me sign, the boss leered at my sister and said, "Exane beauty, I'll send the shooting location and time to your phone. Don't be late." After the boss left, I kindly reminded my sister, "That boss is a real lecher, you'd better be careful and not let yourself get taken advantage of." My sister looked at me impatiently and said, "You're the one who's ugly, so you see everyone through tinted glasses. Forget it, I'd better just shut up. Anyway, whether in my past life or this one, they've never treated me as family. They only want to see me dead. Why should I even bother worrying about it? I don't care at all." My sister said again, "From now on, you'll be my free assistant, available whenever I call. Consider it repaying the kindness of Mom and Dad for adopting you. You don't need to appear on camera, but you still have to be my hands." I watched her beaming with joy and thought to myself, "My dear sister, if you accidentally reveal those hands, wouldn't it scare people to death?" Soon came the day scheduled for the jewelry shoot. The perverted boss didn't come. Instead, several young photographers and staff members showed up. They seemed quite approachable and didn't put on airs. My sister signaled me to give each of them a red envelope containing 1,000 yuan, and they all thanked her one after another. My sister said in a sweet, delicate voice, "Hello, everyone. I happened to injure my hand last night, so if we need to shoot bracelets or rings later, my sister will help out on my behalf." Is this even possible? Clearly. The staff were also at a loss for words. Just as they were about to refuse, my younger sister told me to show them my hands, and I obediently extended them. To their astonishment, despite my ordinary appearance, I actually had a pair of delicate and slender hands. Those people looked at my hand and said, "Wow, this hand is just too beautiful. It's something you'd only find in heaven." My sister's face turned green with anger upon hearing this, and she immediately plopped down on the nearby sofa. The lecherous boss, seeing my sister sitting alone on the sofa, bent over and wrapped his arm around her shoulder, trying to kiss her face with his pig-like mouth. My sister turned her head and looked at his disgusting face. Unable to hold back any longer, she pulled her hand out of her pocket, scaring the boss so much that he scrambled away in sheer terror. The boss pointed at my sister and shouted, "Ah, a monster." I knew this day would finally come. My sister's hand was completely exposed, and everyone was terrified. She wanted to explain, but in the end, she was sent to the hospital again, because her hands had grown long enough to drag on the ground. Mom and Dad rushed to the hospital and were heartbroken to see my sister lying on the hospital bed. Suddenly, Mom charged over, grabbed me by the neck, her eyes bloodshot. "You bitch, why are your hands perfectly fine? Why aren't you dead yet? What did you do to Shinshin?" Dad also rushed over and kicked me several times in the stomach. I was kicked so hard I nearly vomited blood. My sister lay on the hospital bed and shouted, "Didn't that bitch already wear the bracelet? How could this still happen?" She told our mother to move aside, reached out her hand, and tightly choked my neck. I couldn't breathe at all. You have to know she actually has 16 hands. Perhaps heaven couldn't bear to let me go, so it created an opportunity for me to keep living. At that moment, the police pushed the door open and entered. Seeing the scene before them, they were also quite startled. They pointed their guns at the younger sister, ordering her to stop. In front of the police, the younger sister reluctantly let go. The mother quickly said, "Officers, please don't point your guns at my child. She'll be scared." Seeing that Jiang Axayan had let go and was lying on the hospital bed as if deflated, the police put their guns away. They came to understand the situation because the perverted boss was so frightened by the sister that he lost his mind and ended up in a mental hospital. The sister briefly explained what happened on the day of the shoot, and the police took her statement. However, as they looked at her vibrant, lively face and then saw her monstrous hand, their expressions revealed fear, though they suppressed it due to their professional demeanor. We'll stop the statement here. Please keep your phone accessible and cooperate as needed in the future. The police were about to leave. At that moment, I took a deep breath, leaned down, and said to my sister, "This bracelet is quite nice. Do you like it too? I'll buy you one another day. I customized this one on Taobao for just 9 yuan. My mother said in disbelief, "You ungrateful child, where is the bracelet I gave you?" I took out my phone, opened a photo of the octopus I keep, and showed it to them. "It's on it." My sister went crazy. "You bitch, how dare you harm me?" My parents pointed at me and chimed in, "Officer, this person harmed our precious daughter and made her like this. You must arrest her and have her executed by firing squad." In the blink of an eye, while the officer wasn't paying attention, my sister snatched the gun and pulled the trigger, aiming at me, but her hands were as slippery as an octopus's tentacles. She lost her grip and pulled the trigger. And the bullet hit my father squarely in the head. He collapsed instantly, lying on the ground covered in blood. Dad looked at my sister with tears in his eyes, holding his head in pain, so much so that he couldn't speak. Mom crouched beside Dad, screaming at me with heart-wrenching agony, "You wretched girl, we never should have adopted you in the first place. You've ruined our family." And my sister, she knelt in front of Dad, continuously stroking his head until her hands were completely covered in blood. Watching this scene, I smiled. When you once again thought of giving me the bracelet, you should have anticipated this outcome. Later, my mother hired someone to kidnap me, attempting to murder me and dispose of my body. Fortunately, I had a backup plan and managed to protect myself. I submitted all the evidence to the police. Mom was locked up. There's no telling when she'll get out. My sister's behavior became increasingly erratic, and when she heard that Mom was locked up, she completely lost her mind. She was detained by the police in a mental hospital, with someone assigned to watch her every day, but she kept eating random things in her deranged state, eventually got poisoned, and couldn't be saved despite emergency treatment, and I started my new life.